I have the R1 with me. It is my R1 and I can say what I feel like. And today I'm going to talk to you about why you should not or who should not buy the R1. You must be wondering, I just made a video saying why you should buy the R1. Now I'm coming down to why you should not buy the R1. That sounds a little odd, doesn't it? I have my reasons. I've had a few people commenting on my videos in the past that, is the R1 a beginner's bike? No, it is not. It is not a beginner's bike. It is not a beginner's bike. People have said you can tone down the power, you can put it at mode B, power 4 and ride it as a beginner. No, you cannot. It is not meant for a beginner. If you want a beginner's bike, hey, go get a Grom or go get a Duke 200, go get even a Duke 390, but don't get an R1. This is for somebody who knows how to ride a motorcycle for a long time, knows what he's doing, wants to go fast, probably wants to go on track. It is a really quick motorcycle. This is not a beginner's motorcycle. You cannot tone down the power. You can tone down the power if you already know how to ride a motorcycle. You cannot go buy an R1 and say, hey, I'm going to learn riding a motorcycle on the R1. It is not a beginner's motorcycle. I emphasize on this over and over again simply because in some of my past videos, one of them was a 1290 Super Duke where I said, do not buy this bike if you're a beginner. And people have come back and argued with me saying that a beginner can ride a 1290 Super Duke. I was wondering, how could he even say that? Let's get it out of the way. This is not a beginner's motorcycle. Second reason. Now let's say you are not a beginner. You know how to ride a bike. You have been on a bike for a number of years. You have 10, 15, 50, 100,000 kilometers under your belt. 100,000 kilometers would be like 60,000 miles. Yeah, you can go buy an R1. But what you need to know is that you have to be a certain height for this particular R1, for this model. The seat height in most of these bikes is pretty similar. When I say most of these bikes, I talk about the R1, CBR 1000RR, ZX10R, GX 1000. They all have a similar seat height. But the R1 has a very broad seat. Let me sit on it. I'm 5'6", 165 centimeters. I barely touch the ground. It's extremely difficult for a person who's not a really good rider to be able to ride if he does not reach the ground. Now, I definitely do not flat foot on either side. I have to kind of move off to one side and then I flat foot it. Otherwise, I'm tippy toes. So second reason would be if you're a person who's at least, I would say 5'8", 175 centimeters, go for an R1. Or if you're looking for a sports bike, if you're a short guy, go for a ZX10, go for a Gixxer, go for a CBR 1000RR. Motorcycles don't care how tall you are. Motorcycles just ride well. That's it. So you have to remember that the motorcycle has been designed for its purpose and it has not been designed for how tall you are. So if you're 5'6" or less, you're going to have a tough time riding the R1, especially if you do not have a lot of experience. Third reason why you should not buy an R1. It's overkill. Let's put it this way. It's too much power. What would you do with a bike with so much power? It's overkill. I mean, not just the R1, the CBR 1000RR, the ZX10R, the GX 1000, they're all overkill. If you want to buy and enjoy a sports bike, go for a ZX6R, go for a GX 600. Don't need 1000cc. Why did I buy the R1 as 1000cc? That's a tough one. I wouldn't be really able to answer that question. It's probably something that I've been riding for, since 18 years ago. I'm really attached to the iconic R1 and that's about it. If I had not ridden an R1 from 18 years ago for a number of years and continued riding 1000cc's, I probably would not buy the R1. So if you are a rider with a ZX6R or a 600cc, you're golden. And if you've never ridden 1000, you're fine. You are doing great. R1, 1000cc, it is overkill. Unless you want to go on track regularly, and that too on bigger tracks like Road Atlanta and things like that, or similar tracks, not the one in Millville in New Jersey. Even Millville, even if you take it out on track at Millville, is overkill. That's the truth about it. And there's one reason why it can be a deal breaker for a few people is the sound. The R1 has a very different sound than other inline fours. Now, if you like the sound of a thumper, let's say, or a V-twin or a V4, the R1 is for you. But if you like the conventional, traditional sound of an inline four, then the R1, you might not like the R1. Then you would probably want to go with a CBR 1000RR or a ZX10R or a Gixxer 1000. But the R1, let me give you a taste of the sound, what it sounds like. Considering all that I just told you, you are a new rider, you want to learn, not for you. The R1 is not for you. You are a slightly experienced rider, you got a few thousand miles under you, but you are not a tall guy. You are at around 5'6" or my height or so, 165 centimeters. R1 is not for you. It will be too tall for you. It's overkill. If you think that you have a 600cc, believe me, you will be happy. The kind of power you can get out of a 600cc on the streets, riding on the streets, I'm not talking about going on track, but riding on the streets, the kind of power you can get out of riding a 600cc, with the R1, you won't get too much faster, period. The sound. Now that's a very important thing. Either you like it or you don't. I love it. This is a very unique motorcycle. It's a very unique engine. It's this firing order, it really attracts me towards this motorcycle. It's a unique sound and I really love it. So either you like it or you don't. Now it's really up to you. Would you buy the R1 after what I told you, or would you stay away from it? Let me know your comments in the comment section down below and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Until then, ride safe.